dignitaries on the dais, my friend Dheeraj Mathur, Mr. Srivastava and Ms. Smita Singh, friends of the FMC family, and all the guests from BMOs. This is a very special occasion because we celebrate achievement, we recognize achievement, and we join together in thinking about the future and the next stages. I am particularly pleased that the theme this year is driving change with green finance. The fact of the matter is that MSMEs in India have an enormous potential, but that potential is still at an early stages of its full realization. Everybody is agreed that MSMEs are the driving force behind employment generation, India's modernization, India becoming an advanced industrial economy. Now, today I believe that India and MSMEs are at an inflection point where they can derive full advantage of a phrase I picked up rather late in life, which is called the late movers advantage. Now, when did we see in India or experience late movers advantage? We first saw it with mobile phones. So most of India has never seen a landline. So from a landline, from those cordless phones, India has discovered mobile phones. And similarly, India is taking full advantage of late movers advantage in discovering broadband, internet, and all the enormous power that comes from intelligent use of the internet and the broadband through the smartphone. So we have two very good examples of success from being able to make the maximum out of the late movers advantage. So I believe that MSMEs today are at that juncture. And therefore, if we do the right things together, I mean, government, policy makers, NGOs like ours, and all of you, we could suddenly find that we have taken off in a different trajectory altogether. Now, why do I say that? I'll refer to just 3 points. First of all is the broadband and the smartphone. So on the smartphone, each one of you has access to practically all the knowledge that there is in the world. And the good thing has happened is, again, these companies have done a great job. You can get that knowledge in every Indian language. So they have translation facilities, so you get all that knowledge. Then there is a treasure house of educational stuff, videos, YouTube, so on and so forth. So what I as a youngster would struggle to find in libraries, young researchers would struggle to get grants to come to Delhi and get access to some document. Today, each one in India has that access. The second reason why I think there is a great late movers advantage position is that the world in this century has no option but to become a green circular economy. And we in India can leapfrog and become a green manufacturing nation and be part of the global frontier becoming a green circular economy. Now there again we have the late movers advantage because all that we need is yet to be built by India. Unlike, say, the developed China, which has built everything, or the advanced industrial economies which have built everything, they have to close down something to do something green. We have an advantage that we can go green straight away. The third major advantage we have is that India has the cheapest renewable green energy in the world today. So only yesterday I was at an event and an English lady was making a presentation and she said that round-the-clock green electricity in India is 60% lower than any other part of the world. Nobody knows about China because their numbers are not available. Because today, solar power is available at 2.5, 3 rupees. Storage is available at 3.5, 4 rupees, or even less than 2 rupees. So round-the-clock electricity is about 5.5, say 5 rupees. New thermal power is 6 rupees, 5.5 to 6 rupees. So price advantage is 50%. And India today is again the most forward-looking in the world that we have provided for green open access. So I, as an industrial firm, can put up a solar plant here, get that solar electricity in my plant, and I can be recognized as being green. And it is accounted for. And in that process, already great things are happening, except they need to happen for the MSME sectors. So I'll just give one example. Europe has come up with the carbon border adjustment mechanism, which is a tax dependent on the embedded carbon in your product. So if we have to take full advantage of the great European market that has been opened up with the India-EU FTA, we have to become compliant with CBAM requirement, which is our embedded carbon in whatever we produce must be acceptable to the European regulators. So I'm so glad FMC is doing some pioneering work in creating the architecture for traceability of the carbon footprint in what is produced. But the opportunity is, which has already been realized within the last 1 year, one large aluminum plant, which had a captive coal-based thermal power generation unit, is now buying 100 megawatts of real green electricity from an intermediary where the solar park plant is here, the wind is here, the storage is here, and the factory is here. And this is what the All India Green Open Access rules, which the government has put forward in the last few years, enable. So my request to my colleagues in FMC and all of you is to work with you in seeing how quickly you can start using only green electricity and get certified. Because the moment you do that, given where standards are in the world, whatever you supply will be acceptable to a buyer or a buyer who uses what you supply to get to the European market. So this is one great opportunity. I had referred to the other one of having the entire knowledge of the world before you. And now green finance is becoming available, and I think it will gather momentum, and that's the theme today. So finance for you to transform yourself into becoming green is becoming available, and becoming green anyway is, there is a cost advantage, because if you replace an old motor with a new one, it's more efficient, your energy consumption is less, the payback period is very little. If you buy green electricity, it's cheaper than the industrial electricity which government gives you through the discoms. There the rates are about 8 rupees, here it will get about 4 or 5 rupees. So you can become green very easily, and if we become green as a country, then, and this is my final point, that China is today the factory of the world. We can become the green factory of the world because unlike China, we don't have to close an old plant. We have to only build new capacity which is fully green. So I see India as an inflection point, and I see MSMEs at an inflection point with the right kind of partnerships, the right kind of business organizations, and the right level of ambition and confidence. I think we can really just achieve wonders in the next 5 years, because we see that the time taken for radical transformation has collapsed. So I'll just give one example to drive home how quickly things can happen. We are the world leaders now in electric buses in our cities. We are the topmost. Delhi is full of electric buses. Apple has become the largest exporter outside China of mobile phones, and they entered India 5 years back. So in 4 or 5 years, great things can happen, and the message with which I'd like to end is time for great confidence, great ambition, and great optimism. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your vision. Sir also mentioned about the European thing. So Now it's time to listen more about it and get to know more about it. So now we are doing the transition into EU delegation. For that, first of all, I would like to tell you that sustainability and green financing are also strongly shaped by international frameworks and partnerships. The European Union has been actively supporting green transition initiatives in India, including through policy engagement and cooperation programs. We are honored to have distinguished representatives from the EU delegation to India and Bhutan with us today. It is a pleasure to introduce Ms. Smita Singh, Senior Program Manager, Cooperation Section at the Delegation of the European Union to India. Smita ma'am is a senior official at the European Union Delegation to India, serving as Senior Program Manager in the Cooperation Section. In this role, she leads and coordinates EU, including clean energy transition, climate finance, urban resilience, and energy sector innovation. She has been prominently involved in driving collaboration under the EU-India Clean Energy and Climate Partnership and facilitation of multi-stakeholders initiatives such as the Smart Grid Observatory, engaging with government bodies like India's Ministry of Power and Energy sector partners. She also represents the EU in high-level forums on sustainable urbanization and climate resilient development, reaffirming the EU's commitment to long-term cooperation with the sustainable infrastructure and finance mechanisms. So before this role, Smita ma'am also worked on EU technical cooperation programs, and her work reflects a deep engagement with sustainable finance, renewable energy policy, and knowledge exchange between EU and India. It's my pleasure to welcome her on this stage. Everybody, please give her a big round of applause.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Esteemed members on the dais, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard a lot about my work over the past years. I've been privileged to be a part of the European Union for the last 2 decades. And I think since I started working, I've heard Mr. Mukesh Gulati also actively supporting the MSME Foundation and businesses in green and environment-friendly practices since then. So I'm proud and privileged to be here, sir. Thank you for being a part and partner of the European Union over these years. As a part of the EU, I would like to start with what Mr. Shankar said, that yes, we've been privileged to have signed the free trade agreement with India, and this has opened a lot of opportunities for Indian businesses to engage with European businesses. And indeed, CBAM is an opportunity, I would say, though sometimes for the Indian businesses it's become like a pain point, but EU delegation is there to help you and assist you in understanding what it means for this sector. So just to say that India is one of the most important players in the world today and a natural partner for the European Union. There are many areas where our interests align and our political will is strengthened to be partnering. Sustainable finance is one of the priority areas that we have committed to work on. Just a month ago, we had the joint EU-India Comprehensive Strategic Agenda endorsed at the EU-India Summit. We also had the President of the European Union as the chief guest of the Republic Day. And this was a really monumental occasion for us, where we were able to show how important Europe is for India and the importance that the European leaders attach to having this partnership strengthened with the Indian counterparts. The agenda for the strategic agenda that is agreed, it aims to reinforce the partnership by broadening, deepening, and better coordinating the cooperation to mutually beneficial partnerships and leading to transformative outcomes for both the partners, EU and India, and also the wider world. We have committed to work strongly on prosperity and sustainability, technology and innovation, security, defense, and connectivity on global issues. We are also committed to strengthen skills development, research, and business collaborations. Sustainable finance, as we've heard by Mr. Shankar, is a key enabler for us to steer all the partnerships and global partnerships, so to say. The EU Sustainable Finance Priorities for 2026 is going to be focused on mobilizing a green investment fund of euro 500 million to support acceleration, industrial decarbonization, and aligning trade with climate goals. Key areas include renewable energy, green hydrogen, electric mobility, circular economy initiatives supported by enhanced regulatory cooperation and sustainable finance taxonomies. The EU is working with partners like the French Development Agency, AFD, with UNDP, with IFC, to promote greening of the Indian financial system. I see a lot of bank representatives here, especially supporting this green transition, and I am sure that they would have been, a part of the ecosystem of IFC, of the French Development Agency, AFD, who are working with Indian banks and helping MSMEs like yourselves to access finance if you are committed to greening your supply chains, you are committed to greening your processes. So, I mean, you have to really be committed, and then finance is not a problem. We have heard access to finance is a problem, but EU is doing its best with a lot of credit lines. The French Development Agency has committed 100 million to the State Bank of India. We are also working through UNDP to build capacity of the banks itself to understand how important it is to have specific instruments that support MSMEs and SMEs and help them understand what will it take to have easy finance available to them. So I think a lot of you who are part of this event today will have time to go through a lot of these booths that are set up to understand the money is there, but they are looking at the right projects that can be supported. Because when these banks come to international financing institutions, we are always asking them, how much carbon footprints are we addressing? What is the GHG emissions we will be able to reduce? How are we greening our supply chains? So it's very important for businesses to understand what is green financing, how you can access is another thing that will be facilitated and you will be handheld for that. Talking about this program on greening the Indian financial system, that is also actively being supported by the MSME Foundation. And through this, we have committed to reach 2 value chains. And Mr. Gulati maybe will be talking about it more later in the day. So we will be working with the textile sectors, we'll be working with the engineering sector to reach out to them through awareness raising activities, telling them how, taxonomies or you can evaluate and audit your own systems to see what changes are needed. Sometimes there might be very small changes that can help you be aligned with what the government is asking for. Today, if we want to achieve the Viksit Bharat vision of our Prime Minister and of all the Indians, I think we all have to be committed to see how our small bit can lead to a big change and an environment-friendly ecosystem. With the International Finance Corporation, you all know them, it's a World Bank agency. EU is also supporting them for upstream activities. We are working with banks through IFC to create courses for the bankers themselves. Today you have bankers who need to know what are the sustainable finance taxonomies, what are the checklists that have to be put in place. So all this is also being done through capacity building of the people that businesses will go to explain them how they will make a difference. The EU has also introduced a sustainable finance hub at the EU headquarters, sir. And there it's a pool of experts which is supporting the world in general to identify potential opportunities to enhance this financing. The EU's policy context on sustainable finance is apt to support economic growth while reducing pressures on the environment to help reach climate and environment objectives of the EU's Green Deal, taking into account social and governance aspects. Now to talk about what the EU's Global Gateway strategy is. EU has committed globally to mobilize 300 billion by 2027 to support financing of high-quality sustainable infrastructures with high environmental and social standards in line with the values and norms of the EU's. Enabling of an investment-friendly environment, playing a key role of connecting the dots, is at the heart of the Global Gateway strategy of the EU, and the logic is to provide a holistic, comprehensive, and a multi-stakeholder approach. Just to mention about a few programs that we have already in place, you heard during my introduction that I've been working to support the renewable energy sector, sustainable urbanization sector. So EU has been working very much with the policy formulation, policy adaptation, sharing EU best practices, EU taxonomies. In the climate and energy finance, the EU is supporting the green transition with a focus on energy efficiency, renewable energy acceleration, and also looking at new technologies like green hydrogen. In the industrial decarbonization and trade, a key priority is supporting the Indian industries, specifically steel, aluminium, cement, to adapt to the EU's carbon border adjustment mechanism. Supporting circular economy, we are financing sustainable urban development. We support and work with the Smart Cities of India through the Government of India's Smart City program. We are looking at water management, integrated development, and also circular management practices across various cities in India. Cooperation also is being supported with the Indian sustainability disclosures, aligning it with international standards, particularly for SMEs and green bonds. In short, we are intensely engaging with the Indian stakeholders to boost private sector investment in sustainable technologies. The EU and India have a great potential to advance collaboration on sustainable finance instruments such as green bonds, and also look at leveraging private finance for SDG financing. The EU and EU's member state, I also see that Denmark is also supporting this initiative. So as Team Europe, we are committed to be a part of this journey of SMEs mobilization and helping them access the green finance. I thank you all for being here, and I hope you make the most of this, connect with the right people, and also see the showcases that have been put to see what good work MSME Foundation has been doing over the years. And EU is always there. We are here to support MSMEs. They are the engines of growth, as we all know. So thank you very much, and be committed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the insightful address. Your perspective on how the European Union is strengthening green financing frameworks in India truly highlights the power of international collaboration in accelerating climate change actions also. Thank you so much. And now moving forward, may I please take pleasure to invite Shri Arun Kumar Srivastavji, past member, Warehousing Development and Regulatory Authority. So, a leader whose career reflects depth, scale, and transformation. Shri Arun Kumar Srivastavji. With 38 years of experience spanning logistics infrastructure, warehousing, and the railways, he has led complex institutions through modernization and strategic change. An alumnus of Indian Institute of Technology, Banaras Hindu University, and Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, he has served in key leadership roles, including Managing Director of Central Warehousing Corporation and Central Railside Warehouse Company Limited, member of the Warehousing Development and Regulatory Authority, Executive Director at Container Corporation of India, and Chief Engineer in the Indian Railways. His experience across public sector governance, infrastructure financing, and digital transformation uniquely positions him to address the question of how financial institutions can effectively respond to the rising sustainability expectations of MSME in India. So now, everybody, please give a big round of applause and let's listen to Sir's valuable insights.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests on the dais, Sri Dheeraj Mathurji, Srimati Smita Singh ji, Sri Ajay Shankar ji, Mr. Mukesh Gulati, audience, awardees, representative from BMOs, MSMEs, financial institution, policy makers, and others. A very good morning to all of you. It is a privilege to address in today's 9th Responsible BMOs Awards. The theme is Green Financing, Scaling Impact. And the topic is how financial institutions can respond to rising sustainability demands across MSMEs in India. Let me admit that our today's movement and discussion is not merely about giving credit and financing, but it's about aligning our capital with climate responsibility and enabling MSMEs to be part of this dynamic global economy. We all know that MSMEs contribute nearly 30% of our GDP, 45% of our exports, and it employs around 11 crore people in this sector. This sector faces a lot of challenges. We also know that per capita emissions in India is around 2.07 ton. That is way below the global average. But today question is not that though we are way below, should we go for it or not? Today it is about sustainability, circularity, and in catching this situation and giving a way out for the global economy. Even today, but most of the MSMEs are family run. They are not having adequate data. Many of the ESG compliances are not in route, and there are not many documented things, and that is the reason they mainly go for their livelihood, do something to earn money and sustain, but they are not able to access the green financing. I am pretty sure that all of us know obvious challenges of this green financing. There is a financing gap. ESG data is deficit. There is informality, and at the same time, lenders are very, very cautious in this field. What I feel that financial institution must become proactive, because I, as a administrator or technocrat, I have a feeling that controlling and negating the things doesn't give us success. We must be facilitator of the whole process. So what I feel that in this field, the product innovation is very, very essential. We have to develop performance-linked loan tied to the ESG milestones. We have to adopt data-driven inclusion. Let's leverage digital transaction trail and utility data. And today's, in the digital world, it's not very difficult as of now. We have to strengthen the risk mitigation measures. We have to invest in the capacity building at the same time. Our model has to be collaborative one. At the same time, there is a need to provide policy support which can accelerate the whole process. I feel that we all have to aim for measurable outcomes. A higher share of the MSME disbursement directed towards green assets will definitely help. Today, as we all recognize the awardees at the end of the day, let's commit to act that let's simplify the finance, strengthen ESG measurement deepen our collaboration. By aligning capital with sustainability, we can build an MSME ecosystem that is efficient, competitive, and resilient. Jai Hind. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for highlighting that, yes, MSMEs continues to be the backbone of India's economy. Now, next, may I please take this honor to introduce our chief guest of the day, Mr. Dheeraj Mathur, a distinguished former IAS officer who has dedicated years of exemplary service to the government, contributing significantly to policy formulation, governance, and sustainable development initiatives. During his tenure in public services, he worked closely with developmental frameworks that emphasized responsible growth, resource efficiency, and the integration of sustainability with government-led programs. His vision and administrative leaderships have played an important role in encouraging environmentally conscious planning and the early alignment of policy thinking with the principles of green finance and sustainable infrastructure. With strong understanding of how governance can drive sustainable economic transformation, Mr. Mathur has constantly advocated for growth models that balance development and environmental responsibility. His experience in government, particularly in the areas linked to sustainable policy direction and green financing ecosystems, makes his insights extremely valuable for today's theme. So without taking a lot of time, may I please request everybody to welcome Sir with big, big, big round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Ajay Shankar sir, my senior colleague and friend, philosopher and guide, when I was Secretary Energy in Madhya Pradesh and he was in the Ministry of Power, and he mentored me, advised me and supported me as I negotiated and fought for reforming the power sector in Madhya Pradesh. It's a pleasure, sir, to share the dais with you. I feel a little humbled at being called a chief guest in an event where you are there. Also, Mr. Srivastav and Mrs. Singh and distinguished guests, industry leaders, representatives of business membership organizations, colleagues and friends. I would thank Priyanka and the FMC for inviting me for this event on a subject that is very close to my heart. So it's truly a pleasure to be here recognizing in business leaders who have excelled in an area that is of vital importance for all of us and for the generations that follow. It's a privilege to be at the 9th BMO Awards, a platform that recognizes an often unsung yet extremely powerful force within India's economic ecosystem, our business membership organizations, or BMOs. As we know, India has one of the largest MSME ecosystems in the world. Over 63 million micro, small and medium enterprises contribute to nearly 1/3 of our GDP, around half of our exports, and provide livelihoods to more than 110 million people. This is not merely an economic statistic. It represents entrepreneurship, resilience, and grassroots industrializations across the country. A defining feature of India's MSME strength is its cluster-based development. We have more than 6,500 industrial and artisan clusters, from textiles and handicrafts to engineering, food processing, leather, chemicals, and emerging green industries. These clusters enable shared infrastructure, skills innovation, and market access. But clusters thrive only when there is collective leadership, and that leadership inevitably comes from the BMOs. Industry associations and BMOs play a crucial bridging role. They connect enterprises with policy, markets, technology, finance, and knowledge. They amplify the voice of small businesses that individually may not be heard. They promote responsible business practices, encourage collaboration instead of competition, and help enterprises transition from survival to sustainability. This is why today's platform, led by the Foundation for MSME Clusters, is so important. This is not just an award ceremony, it's an instrument of encouragement. By recognizing BMOs that promote responsible, environmentally conscious, and socially inclusive business practices, this initiative inspires others to follow a similar path. Recognition creates aspiration, and aspiration drives transformation and growth. And nowhere is this need more critical than in adopting financially viable yet environmentally friendly business practices. In today's global context, this need has become even more critical. Sustainability is no longer an option. International markets increasingly demand traceability, lower carbon footprints, ethical sourcing, and circular economy practices. Many of our MSMEs are willing, but struggling with knowledge gaps, compliance pressures, financing constraints, and technological transitions. This is where stronger BMOs and stronger cluster institutions become essential. They facilitate capacity building, common solutions, shared compliance infrastructure, and access to new markets. They can also bring or introduce the multiple government schemes that promote SMEs to individual units, who otherwise would either remain unaware or lack the resources to even access those schemes and benefit from them. Equally important, and I should actually say the most important aspect here, is access to green finance. A clean environment costs money, and MSMEs cannot shoulder the cost of sustainability alone. Affordable, accessible green finance, whether for energy efficiency, resilient infrastructure, cleaner production, waste management, or renewable adoption, must reach the grassroots enterprise. Industry associations and BMOs can play a catalytic role here by aggregating demand and improving awareness, and crucially, building trust between financial institutions and MSMEs. As we celebrate the achievers today, let's remember that these awards are not just about past accomplishments. They're about setting a direction for the future, a future where Indian MSMEs are competitive, resilient, sustainable, and globally respected. I congratulate all the award winners, shortlisted organizations, and in particular the Foundation for MSME Clusters for creating a platform that honors responsibility alongside growth. Initiatives like this not only strengthen industries, but the nation itself. Thank you, and I wish the 9th BMO Awards continued success in inspiring responsible enterprises across India. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for adding depth to today's deliberation. And now we are moving towards a very important section, that is the public launch of the DSR, the detailed study report of the Panipat Recycled Textile Cluster. This comprehensive study has been prepared by the Foundation for MSME Clusters in collaboration with the Reverse Resources and Sustained Consulting. It has been generously supported by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Denmark, Danida, under the Green Weave Profitability by Integrating Traceability and Resource Efficiency in Recycled Textiles India project. The study also incorporates lessons from other ongoing initiatives, including Green Threads, Enhancing Sustainability in India's Textile Recycling Clusters, funded by the EU Switch Asia program, and the Demonstrating Decarbonization Pathways through Pilots in Textiles SMEs project funded by HSBC India. Together, these initiatives aim to strengthen sustainability, resource efficiency, and the decarbonization in the textile recycling sector, while enhancing the competitiveness for MSMEs in the Panipat cluster. The findings of this report provide actionable recommendations on integrating traceability, adopting circular economy practices, improving operational efficiency, and enabling green financing opportunities. It is a step forward in creating more sustainable, profitable, and globally competitive recycled textile ecosystem in India. At this moment, I would like to request the dignitaries on the dais to formally launch the diagnostic study report. And I would also like to request Mukesh sir to kindly join us on the stage. Your support and guidance will not only make this launch memorable, but also a signal for a strong commitment towards sustainability, innovation, and MSME growth in India. Everybody, please give a big round of applause and join us in the launch of DSR report. Many, many congratulations, and thank you so much. So here is the public launch of the diagnostic study report of the Panipat Recycled Textile Cluster. Thank you so much, everybody. With that, we formally conclude the inaugural session of the 9th Responsible BMO Awards. Thank you to all our esteemed speakers for sharing perspective that connect policy, finance, and enterprise level and transformation.